Hi, Brian here from quantlabs.net. I just wanted to show you the set of documentation that's available for licensed users of MATLAB. This is not what I would expect from any software development house or anything, but this is just to show you the power of MATLAB, the vast types of things you can do with MATLAB, and most of all, the quality of their documentation. Now, before I proceed, I just want to address something regarding people come back and say, why am I not using open source tools like R or Linux? I'm about productivity. You know, I don't, at the end of the day, if I'm making money at something and I have the choice between a commercial product to pay for versus something that's free, I find that my productivity is more important than anything else. And as a result, this is one of the reasons why I'm about to show you. You do not get this level of documentation in R. I'm not knocking R, but I can tell you, you'll move a lot faster in MATLAB versus something like R. So let's check it all out. Okay, for those that have been following me quite closely, Simulink is now becoming an important part of my choice of how to develop trading models. Okay, there are just so many options here from just the world of Simulink. Here we got some documentations on the coder and how to code generate, and there's a lot of development related stuff with MATLAB, so you can extend into .NET, into Java. I'll try to show you some of that, but let's go through some of this stuff. Okay, so let's just take a look at generally the Simulink itself. Now, hopefully you've seen the videos on my Simulink, but some of the guides here are just incredible. Obviously, they're all PDFs. One thing I want people to walk away with is just the size of this these documents. They're fairly detailed. They go on about a lot of the examples. There's also these user guides which are quite impressive. So yeah, okay. This is just to show you how MATLAB Simulink is a monster. We have here a document that's 2,800 pages long, and obviously it's just going to go on about probably each block within Simulink, the visual block. It also will tell you about the different C language capabilities of it, which is what we're going to be taking advantage of. So when we implement that into this open trading open trading platform, we've now got the ability to really understand what each block means, and you know, it's just an incredible level of detail and real world examples that they provide. Okay, so that's Simulink. It just goes on and on and on. So here we got one on the functions, S functions. I'm not sure if I'll be using that a lot, but again, you know, this is how you can also learn about the you know, unknown capabilities of MATLAB. So let's check out some of the coder stuff. So there's a huge emphasis on this. So I'm going to load up the reference for the Simulink coder. As you can tell, that is another. Actually, it's not that bad. It's 700 pages. And this again will give you a detailed level of what things will look like when you generate the code from those Simulink blocks. Maybe this is what I'm looking for here. Yeah, so we have 1,300 pages for this one on a Simulink user guide for code generation. Again, you know, that's how amazing this product is. Now, people could go on about the price of Simulink, but when you look at this level of detail in the documentation, and you compare the price of hiring a let's say a coder, especially in C or C++, at $100 an hour or even $75 an hour, you're looking at paying them out $200,000 a year. But now you can visually develop your models in Simulink and then be able to run it through something like the Simulink coder and then develop and bang out your own coder or C code. not only that, but because of that, you'll be able to use that code and then drop it into something like the open source trading platform that we use. And we're going to actually have a whole webinar on that tonight on how to do that. Obviously, there's going to be some manipulating of the code, both on the DLL level, both on the code on what's code generated as well. But again, you have such an amazing level of documentation that this can easily walk you through it. It's a beast. Let's leave it at that, which is no doubt. So that's something to be interesting about. Okay, so for those that have again been following me, one of the key ingredients of any type of trading platform that most developers or software architects struggle with is something called real-time analytics. When you have real-time data coming in, how do you handle that data and how do you raise events? How do you trigger it? Blah, 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 blah. Well, there's a product which is part of Simulink, which is called Stateflow. So that takes care of that. So there's again more documentation on Stateflow, how it works, and how to implement that into your Simulink models. And again, from here, and I've verified this, that you can co-generate Stateflow block diagrams as part of your code. And here's obviously a sample coming out of the co-generator report. And again, you get a huge level of documentation on that. Okay, this alone will save you a lot of money, a lot. I mean, I've seen products, third-party products, that are charging $1,000, $10,000 a month to do this type of capability. But here you go, you can develop your own with this product called Stateflow and be able to develop your own real-time analytics. And again, it doesn't stop there. Now we're just focusing on Simulink, okay? You want to optimize your code if you want to code generate for fixed point. And this is where you're starting to get into areas of where you maybe want to develop an FPGA model using an ADA HDL coder. That is very capable with Simulink. So again, you can develop your Simulink model and then be able to code generate with FPGA using these products. Again, the power of Simulink and MATLAB as well. Okay, so that's just Simulink. That's where the end game will be for myself and the models that we generate, because once we can understand how to use Simulink, as I said, you've seen the amount of the amount of pages there, like over almost 3,000 pages on top of just the coder itself is another 1,500 pages. So there's a lot of learning ahead. So you know, these are challenges that I don't mind. All right, so now we're going to focus more on the Simulink, MATLAB. I won't call it core, but more MATLAB type of functions. I'm just going to give you a general overview. I hear talk about a lot about splines, wavelets, which are part of the world of trading. Now again, if you're a retail trader or a technical trader, or if you're an old school guy, it's these products here that will give you an edge on basically putting you in the leagues of high-end traders who are really, really successful at trading, building things like wavelets. You probably don't even know what a wavelet is. From what I understand from reading last night, I just breezed through all this stuff. It's about building signal manipulation on your signals. So you have a whole toolbox related around signals through wavelet. I could be wrong on this, but you know, that's what I came away with when I looked at this PDF. Then we get into the statistical toolbox. This is very powerful when you start looking at, you know, people, you know, you watch Bloomberg, let's say, and they'll go on about means, standard deviation, and all the histogram and all the usual blah blah blah, you know, normalized distribution, and looking at these type of graphs, or sorry, plots. It's all here. This is part of this toolbox of statistical. Splines is another one I'm not going to get into. Signal generation, again, this is very powerful for people that are generating signals for their trading, especially on their forecasting. I'll show you a very powerful PDF for that. Okay, this is the real-time analysis again. That's what the RTW stands for, as far as I know. But here, a lot of these documents go on and on about code generation. It just stresses the importance of it and my philosophy with the code generation. But you can see a lot of these pages are just massive, or the PDFs are massive at 1,400 pages. And again, you got a lot of people ask about optimization with MATLAB. Here you go. You have a whole toolbox related around just on MATLAB optimization toolbox. Again, very advanced. For those that are not familiar with MATLAB, they have an amazing user interface. So you can use some of these toolboxes and be able to use the GUI or graphical user interface, the front end, to be able to use things like the tool, the GUI tool, and then there's usually some option where once you get your configuration set and you're happy with the set of results of that toolbox, you can just, there's usually a choice in there where you can generate MATLAB M scripts from that. That's mind-blowing when you see that. Okay, so now there's a lot of people that are very interested in neural network. I'm not at this point yet a believer of neural network. It's a huge world that's really outside of quant. Training based upon data and trying to develop an algorithm based around that. I mean, to me, it's not proven yet, but I have an idea of how to test that with what I'm going to call the ultimate trading strategy out there, which will dynamically self-adapt and just be pretty mind-blowing. And that's all going to come out of MATLAB with a specific, we'll call it a secret weapon toolbox. For those that are old school MATLAB, yes, MATLAB is object-oriented programming or has that capability, using standard, inheritance and setting objects and classes, and it's got some really nice features within that. So if you're a Java dude or sorry, dudette, even there are ladies that do a lot of this, so we need to put out some respect to them and welcome to them. It's an exciting field. Anyways, so as you can tell, there's a lot of neural network type of stuff as well through this toolbox. I don't know if you just saw, but I think I've mentioned this before. I'm just going to do a search on some example code here. Let's just this is the power of MATLAB. I mean, seriously. I'm going to be honest with the world of R. It's pretty good in R, but this just takes the cake. This thing just, it's an incredible level of detail, and it'll just present a real world scenario so you can save yourself some time. You get a lot of example code. Here you go. This is one of them. Linked list is what I just flashed by me, and this is what I want to show you. So you can just, this is all included in the MATLAB toolbox, so you can easily get access to the code and the documentation as well with that. Okay, so let's see what else can we look at here. Fixed point's a big one. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the financial toolbox. The more advanced for financial trading. We're going to look at one called econometrics. Okay, I'm not going to show the full PDF on this, but what I do want to show is that I'll show you the table of contents here. You got Garch model, mean variance, forecasting. This is all based upon how to forecast, basically. But look at all the stuff you can do. You got estimation, MLE. Again, regression, Monte Carlo, VAR for portfolio management, co-integration, obviously that's for pairs trading, ARIMA. These are all the things that I'll be focusing on throughout my trading estimate. But I'll be planning to go through these and test them out and apply them to real world data. Again, it continues. We've got RMX, GARCH. These are various variations of the GARCH with the, well, we'll just leave it multivariate time series. Let's leave that. I mean, that probably doesn't mean a whole lot to people. SDE, and this is just one toolbox that focuses on that. Let's load up another one. Now, if you're getting really, really advanced stuff, here's the financial toolbox. We've got here converting dates. I think there was one on charting financial data. So this is another big monster document, 1,500 pages. Portfolio. This is more for risk management, risk aversion, portfolio selection, efficient and frontier. Again, if you're a traditional discretionary trader, seriously, I would honestly hate to tell you this, but you should throw away those ideas, because this is where trading really happens on the, again, the institutional professional level. This is what we're looking at, because if you're managing a large sum of cash, these are things that you should know about when it comes to trading. And we're going to be focusing on that in the membership for QuantLabs.net, QuantLabs.net membership, premium membership, I should go on about. So again, Sharpe ratio, risk-adjusted return, credit analysis we don't need to worry about, regression with missing data, financial time series analysis. This is an interesting one for me. Financial time series, again, interesting. You got some technical analysis stuff. You can see that there's not a large stressing of these types of indicators. We got MACD, Williams percent R, RSI. Okay, so we know all about that stuff. So this is what. Oh, this is just the functions themselves. So just so you know, things like when you want to look at one of these functions, you can get a really nice summary of what functions are available in MATLAB for, let's say, performance metrics. And then here's an example of, I want to figure out my max drawdown. Okay, so it'll give you at like the MSDN level quality, syntax, set of arguments, your description, examples, and all that. And again, that was my big beef with the multicharts.net. Just didn't have that level of for a $1,500 product. I would have expected that. Anyways, then we got into our financial income. Again, I'm just going to show you the table of contents here. Okay, we don't. I mean, you're really going to be following mortgage-backed securities. That's what caused our 2000 financial crisis. But surprise, it's coming back. But it's things like that. If you, I'm not here to tell you what to do. But some really advanced stuff. Obviously, this is all related around options and bond coupons and stuff. It's pretty powerful. But interest rate curve object, that might be useful if you're gonna, when things get bad and you want to do some advanced analysis on T-bills, let's say, from the U.S. government or whoever's going to be the she place to invest into. And again, we get into our function reference. Now, I should have mentioned this as well. The big advantage of going down this path with using these documents from MATLAB, if you are referring to code like QuantCode or some other external source, you don't know if the code's going to be any good. Because it's coming from the world of MATLAB and MathWorks, do you really question it? Of course not. So this is why I really like to focus on this stuff. So now we're going to get into some development type of stuff. Actually, hang on here. This one's important too. A lot of people are wanting to always get best fit on their curve. Again, there's this document that will help you achieve that. Again, I mentioned the splines, so there's some more detail on that. Again, honestly, I'm really new to this, so I've heard the names and stuff, but to be honest, um, it's stuff like this. This is where I'm going to learn, to be honest. And let's get into some .NET stuff. Okay, so we've talked about .NET. Because I have this document here, I'm hoping that there's some surprise way of being able to speed up the problems that I've seen with the .NET Builder, or sorry, the Builder Any toolbox. This guy right here. It is slow, and the coding of it's really, honestly. Let me just show you an example here. This is why it's slow. You have to pack your data before you call the MATLAB function. This is all done in your C# or your .NET app. Anyways, that's why it's slow. But this is the 2012 version now that they're talking about. And to be honest, when I saw this, I was like, oh my god. This is for 2012. So now what you can do is you can speed up your MATLAB calls, co-generate them. So basically, you can have your .NET app being, let's say, a trading platform, speed up your code by having that code from your .NET C#, let's say, be able to call your MATLAB function through this builder any product, and then use within that MATLAB function be able to execute your parallel computing. So that will then be able to access your internal cluster of MATLAB workers to speed up that analysis on the MATLAB side, but that can be called from your trading platform. When I saw this and I heard about it, this really excited me with the the MATLAB 2012 versions. So that's this toolbox could be a very powerful toolbox as we get into maybe parallelizing from the MATLAB script, but be able to call that script from C#. That is very exciting to see that. And again, you have the ability to build different WCF if you're familiar with Windows Communication Foundation. And then you get into remoting with .NET, and then all this documentation goes on and on and on about that. And that's one of the hidden things I didn't know about with MATLAB Builder Any. So again, lots of learning here. Yeah, I don't know what to say. But if you're not a .NET person, you also have the Java Builder as well for doing working with Java jar files or Java archive files. So again, this is very powerful. I'm hoping you're still with me here because I'm just getting all started. Okay, so now let's say we're going to go into our really advanced, we're at a professional level. We can now start working with, better feeds. Not knocking IQ feed, but let's say if we want to work with a Bloomberg market data feed or a Reuters, even this one, the interactive data processing remote, we can do that. We can hook into the Reuters, the tick history as well as the Bloomberg as well. Well, let's not talk about eSignal. But the possibilities are all there through this document. Now, for those that aren't familiar with KX systems, this is a very interesting product. Again, this is all institutional. This is a very, very expensive product. But this is basically the ability for you to develop a database that has out-of-box connectivity into other types of data feeds, and it's a very high-speed database. Now, I've heard mixed stories if it's good or if it's not. I hear it's good, but it's very expensive. So you can now have an internal high-speed database for high-frequency trading, let's say. Use it as a repository for your database, and then be able to, at the same time, be able to use MATLAB to connect into it. Okay, that is on institutional level. This is not a very cheap option. This is something if I could afford, I'd definitely go with. And I'm sure you're seeing the possibilities with all this. Okay, so that's just one database, but then there's a database as well for database Toolbox. You can use the ODBC. Just give me a second. My computer's just having a hissy fit. So you can connect into an ODBC database source or JDBC source. So it's covered both on the .NET and or Windows and the Java side. So I've got a video, obviously, playing around with the SQL Server and MySQL on this end. This has actually a very powerful, what they call a query builder. But here's the databases that you can connect into. MySQL works. I tried with the SQL Server. Oracle, that's kind of overkill and too big. But if you are using Sybase, which a lot of banks and hedge funds use, you can do that as well. But there's something kind of cool called the query builder. And again, it's one of those examples using the front end with the GUI, where you can basically just point and click and tell you. Let me just try to pull up a visual of that. It's kind of neat, but again, I don't know. Yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So let's say you have your database, your data source. You can specify your schema, and then your table that you want to connect into. You set the fields that you want to do whatever, and then so you can do this all visually, and then you can set your query conditions here. It also builds your SQL statement for you. You execute it, it'll bring back the results. And the other thing that's powerful about this, I mentioned this earlier, from there you can also generate your MATLAB code for this query that you're building. It's just unbelievable how MathWorks has really engineered their software. Just amazing. Okay, and then we get into the MATLAB Coder. Some of you probably have followed me. This is one of the areas that really turned me on about MATLAB, the ability to take your MATLAB M script and be able to use the MATLAB Coder and generate your C or C++ code from those MATLAB functions. But there's a huge caveat. It's a very small subset of functions that are supported. These two documents here will basically show you which functions are supported. Let's just see. Let me just show you that. So there is a caveat function supported list. So you do get them here. There's nothing on the financial, which is kind of too bad, but I guess they prioritize based upon the demand of this product, and maybe the financial field hasn't caught on yet. But not saying this is not an adequate product, but that's where you use one of the big reasons why you use the Simulink coder and go through the world of Simulink. Oh boy, I'm already getting tired of showing you all this stuff. And okay, so I've shown you all the state flow. Now this is a new product that MATLAB just brought out, the Poly space where it'll check your code to make sure it's valid or not. We've gone on about the optimization. We've gone on about modeling. Oh my God! It's non-stop onslaught of information. Again, state flow information. Oh, you know, you could die just reading this and implementing and playing with all these things that come with MATLAB. But you can see the power of the trading capabilities with this document. Now, I have not mentioned this, maybe I have or haven't, but unfortunately these are only available for licensed users. So unfortunately they're not available for out in the public domain, and hey, I don't blame MathWorks. These are just powerful tools. They are expensive, but again, they are definitely worth it for the amount of time you're saving and the fees that you would pay out to a coder to develop this sort of stuff, and save the time too. So one of those huge tours of MATLAB and the documentation that's available. Again, all this stuff is high quality. Putting it up on YouTube just to show you, and this is what we're going to be focusing on within the world of QuantLab's premium membership, building stuff out of this, and you know, being able to generate code hopefully for it in C, or well, preferably C. And so there you go. The world of MATLAB is quite incredible. The quality of it's quite incredible. The community level of all the resources that are available are just amazing. This is why I'm using MATLAB. Not trying to be a spokesman for MATLAB, but it's important to stress the diversity of this product. Expensive, yes, but highly productive, and that's one of the reasons why I don't do open source. And well, I'm not saying not open source, but R, Linux, and even if I choose to move away from Windows, I can take the same models and be able to generate them into open source with Java, let's say, or C. And go from there. So I have lots of opportunities here, all thanks to the MathWorks company, I guess we'll say. Quite an ingenious product. Other than that, I think my computer's trying to tell me we better end it. So have a nice day, and hope I haven't damaged your brain too badly. Later.